Welcome to Conversations with Masesi, where my guest and I talk about everything life, family, love, community, and everything in between. Unlocking the potential of every mind requires a commitment to learning without pause. In our conversation today, we are exploring the impact of summer learning loss and the quest of continuous knowledge. Joining me today, we have our family coach, Sylvie. Welcome, Coach Sylvie.
Thank you so much for having me, Masesi.
It's so good to see you and having you back on Conversations with Masesi. For our viewers, please let everybody know who you are and what you do.
So I am a family and parent coach. So I help families that struggle with all kind of struggles that we face or we come in front with life. And I'm also a tutor and re-education teacher. I provide writing and reading program for students that have learning difficulties or students that just need that little push to bring them to grade level.
Wow, that is so much that you do. But on top of that, you're a mother.
I am.
Oh, wow. Tell us about your wonderful children.
So I have a 14-year-old, which is going in grade 10. I have a 13-year-old. She just turned 13, actually.
Yeah.
And she's going in grade 8, and a 10-year-old that's going in grade 6. So
Wow.
we're very busy with
You
activities.
are very busy.
We are.
And now you being a family coach and being a teacher and being a tutor adds to all that happens at home. But today we're talking about summer learning loss. What is summer learning loss?
It's a perfect time to talk about summer learning loss since we're already in a few weeks in summer. So it's a regression of the academic skills and knowledge that students gain during the school year. Kids are sponges. They will absorb a lot of information during the school year.
That's right.
But if a student at the end of the year is not at grade level, they will probably be at risk of having a big learning loss. And when I did my research, there was all kind of percentage, the number of months that students would lose when it comes to learning loss. And some said 40% during the summer of losing their learning skills, and other would say a month. But that to me is not accurate 100%. The reason why I say this is because they don't test the kids at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, right? Yeah. So it's hard to really know what is the percentage of learning loss the students are having. And also all the districts might not use all the same testing, don't test at the same time.
That's right, yeah.
They might not take in consideration the social economic situation for the families, learning difficulties. So a lot of factors come into this. That said, learning loss is real and it does happen.
And it does happen. That is so scary. But like you touched on, there are factors that contribute to that. Talk to us more about those kind of factors.
So before I dig really deep into this, it's very important for me to let the viewers know that what I will be sharing this morning comes from a point of view of observation that I seen through my 20 years of teaching.
Yes.
And there is no judgment whatsoever from my point. It's just to bring awareness and to know what to look for if your child might have be at a point where they would have that learning loss.
Yes.
So we might see some families that have a social, economic, low income.
Yes.
Can play a role in this, and the reason might be if the students rely on the school for healthcare or for meals.
Oh, that's
right?
true, yeah.
So they have that security when they're at school, but as soon as they go home, they might not have that security, which puts a lot of pressure and stress on those kids. And also, if the family isn't able to go to the library and go grab some books for the kids because they're too far away.
Yes.
Also, learning difficulties go in that. So if a student has dyslexia, which is difficulty with reading, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, or maybe having a hard time to process the information, so memory, the short-term memory. So a lot of factors come into why a student might have a learning loss. There's also I know some parents would share sometimes that there would be substitute teachers, and I'm not taking away any credit from the substitute teachers.
Yes.
Sometimes if you have a substitute teacher for a few days and then the teacher still can't come, so it's substitute teacher after substitute teacher, always a different one. It gets hard for the students to, first of all, get use of the way that adult in front of the class, how they teach, and how they manage the class, and what kind of plan is left for them. So a lot of things come in factor, right?
So it's not only what they can have as a family, even the child's learning abilities contributes towards that. And the resources that, in the community, we always say there is a free resource for every kind of family. But we forget some families, they have adults that need to go work. So the child can take themselves to the library or to the free camp that's available.
Exactly.
So in your experience, when a child is experiencing summer loss, how does that affect the child's self-esteem?
It affects the child's self-esteem a lot. So usually the kids won't notice during the summer, right? Yeah. They will notice at the beginning of the school year that they're behind. So let's say, I'll give you an example, a student that is finishing grade 1, but still can't sound out the letters of the alphabet, or doesn't know the letters of the alphabet, or they don't know their complex sounds. And that's the foundation of reading, right? Yeah. And they're being pushed at grade 2. So that gap that happens gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's not the teacher's fault, right? The teacher will try.
And it's not the child's fault.
It's not the child's fault either. They will try to do their best to help that student. At the same time, that teacher needs to go through that curriculum, right? And in a perfect world, every class would have an EA to help out, but that's not the reality, as we've learned in the past few months what's going on in education, right? Yeah.
So that is so hard for the families, it's so hard for the children. And we spoke about the summer loss, what it is, and the factors that contributes towards that. I want us to come back and see what's the solution, because yes, it is a problem, but problems need to be solved.
Of course. And so if you have a student that at the end of the school year is not at grade level, it should not be a surprise.
So will grade level be it reading, writing, and mathematics, or?
Well, that's another thing. It really depends. So a student can be at grade level when it comes to math, but it's not for reading. So that really depends, right? But at the end of the year, it should not be a surprise to the parents. So the parents should know there's something going on at least at the middle of the school year, or at the second report card. So that's when action needs to be done, right? So the parent needs to approach the teacher with a mindset of problem solution.
That's
and how can we help my child? How can we help that student? And the focus needs to be 100% on that student. Some students will need a individualized learning plan, but not all of them. Maybe sometimes it's just to give that child a little bit more time when it comes to doing the work, or having on their paper less words and written bigger. So it really depends on what the student needs, right?
That's so true. Is it true that each and every child, like they always say, they learn different? But as a teacher, do you really have to know all the learning styles, or you just have to adopt this one style and that's it?
No, you need to have a different approach for a lot of kids. Some kids will need to use all of their senses. So when I work with students, oftentimes I will use the touch, smell, hear. We're going to be sometimes tasting. So using all the senses. Some other students will need little prompts. Like sometimes I use really fancy little glasses with no lenses, and we're like in character, and then they're reading. So it's how can we make reading or learning in a fun way?
Yes.
Not that it's a task. Of course, there is sometimes that, okay, we need to do what we need to do, and we need to be serious, but other times we need to make it fun.
They always say children learn by play.
Exactly.
We will come back on our second segment and explore this topic further. But for now, as we conclude this exploration of summer learning loss, we unveil the intricate dance of factors shaping this educational phenomenon. Understanding the complexities empowers us to craft targeted solutions. Let's bridge the gaps and create a summer of continuous growth for every learner. That's a wrap for today. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms to keep the conversation going. Thank you for joining us on Conversations. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you and yours. Shalom.